Was.
All right, FaZe versus Liquid. Coastline. FaZe starting on attack. Liquid on defense. Liquid will start with the bans, and they will get rid of already. I'm guessing. I'm gonna say Lion.
Definitely a strong possibility, but Buck.
Whoa!
This is only the second Buck ban, I believe, we've seen, because we saw one on NA Monday, which was certainly interesting as well, or Tuesday, depending on where you live.
That is quite interesting. You don't see that, man.
You certainly don't. There goes the ever reliable Lion ban.
Yeah.
But vertical play going to be a little more interesting. I mean, of course, you still have Sledge to work downwards, but upwards.
Not really an option.
That means top floor bomb site's slightly stronger now.
I mean, you've got substitutes for the Buck, but
yeah,
no one's going to be quite as useful as Buck at what he does. Mira taken out as well, so the very standard bans there from FaZe.
We're not going to get the Echo ban, though, so that means he's still going to be in play, but it means a lot less outside cams, things like that. No cheeky peeks from those, at least. Something we do occasionally see from some teams.
These are hyper-specific bans from Liquid. Buck and Valk are going to be targeting FaZe very directly.
Yeah, whereas FaZes are fairly generic bans.
Yeah, the Lion and the Mira are about as predictable as it gets. Another point of interest is we just saw a teased Montaigne and a teased Fuse.
I wonder, like a slot machine with the choosing there.
Are they going to six-pick into one of them? What's going on here? Were they just yanking our chains? We will see Castle instead of Pulse from Liquid, which is a bit of an oddity, though I'm sure they're anticipating. The reason you're going to bring Pulse and the six-pick off of them is to bait out a six-pick into an IQ, but it does not seem that FaZe are actually keen to do that.
Nope, they're going to stick with what they got. One interesting aspect, though, is, yeah, they don't have the Buck, but in theory, you can somewhat play Jackal similarly, just without the grenades and instead going with smokes. So that is a possibility. I mean, the ITA not quite as effective as the Skeleton Key, but still it gives you some possibility to play from that downward to upward direction.
Yeah. The smokes will be useful when you combine them with the glass. So no matter what, you're still getting a decent chunk of utility. Just it's kind of shifted.
Yeah. Well, we will see a lot of firepower in terms of operators coming out from the attacker side. Defender side, mixed bag utility. Surprisingly, they don't want to bring the Echo when he is available. Instead, bringing a Doc. That seems like an odd choice for me, given that I would think Zig would be a fairly effective Echo player. But instead of playing the Doc, I mean, he could potentially be using it to fight. There are quite a few long angles upstairs to fight.
I gotta say, I'm with you 100%. If you have Echo available, play Echo. But looks like Liquid just favoring HP over utility, which, you know, it could work, I guess, but it does seem like a kind of a little bit of waste, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see as the round plays out, but definitely going to be, I think, in terms of operator lineups right now, advantage to FaZe. This is with the way the bans went down.
Mean, I don't know if I would ever give an maybe, yeah. I mean, it's really hard to say.
I mean, it's how you play them, obviously, but still, it's just. I feel like this is a very strong attack lineup.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. For this situation, it definitely is. The setup from Liquid is also pretty solid, though. I mean, that barbed wire on the blue stairs is going to give a good position. The castle, I want to know where the barricades were. We did see one barricade destroyed. Oh, he could see the face mask, but he cannot land the shot. It's not a hitbox, so he's waiting for his opportunity. Moringa, so patient right now.
Yeah, do not give that away early because you want him to move into that position. Looks like he's on, and, you know, probably just a camera.
I'm sure he could probably actually land that shot if he just angles it right, but no, the opportunity is lost.
Ooh. Looks like we had some serious damage going to Bullet in the meantime, though. He does manage to get reset, so that is good for him. But, or no, not rather reset, but Zig on the Dock actually definitely getting some use of that. And unfortunately, the peak there coming out from the Jackal, absolutely punished by Yuna on glass.
What a shot from Sexy Cake, though. We didn't get to see it, but through the bars on Repel, Yuna goes down. That is impressive, and it is one of the most important kills that could happen in this round. The Glass no longer in play, but Astro with an excellent double kill, pushing out a VIP, coming up on the flank of both Zig and PSK. Sexy Cake trying to play the long angle from inside of B, and he will get his second kill of this round. Seemingly the standout performer for the defense right now. Nesk, his teammate, one of the more known names in Latin America, still inside of Aquarium, and he's in a very important position. He's being pressured from the A window as well as the Aquarium balcony, though, so it's not an easy hold for him. Mav trying to take up residence in the hallway, where we saw Astro get that excellent double kill. And he's going to confront Sexy Cake. This is a difficult fight to take. Sexy goes through the spray through the wall, and he's going to do some damage, but not enough to get a kill. Camera will take out Nesk, so it's going to need to be an ace for Sexy if Liquid want to take the round. Smokes to try and cut off visual to the Maestro. Not overly successful. The Twitch allowed to make a rotation, but Mav will land the shot as Sexy makes his push. The rotation cut off by FaZe.
Definitely great play there by Sexy Cake. Unfortunately, Nesk just wasn't able to hold his own in the situation, despite having the benefit of the castle barricades. But it was a lot of them pushing into each other at the beginning there. Great play, though, with the angle in terms of the hallway by Sexy Cake and just taking advantage of spraying and strafing situation where usually we don't want to deal with horizontal recoil, but because he was already at head height, he actually made it a very good chance he was going to land one of those headshots. So definitely working out for them. Hookah, unfortunately, just not the successful one this time, but Clash has actually been banned the previous 2 matches and is not this time. So Sexy Cake, ever the one to always play the new operators, is definitely going to do so here unless he 6 picks off of it for Penthouse, which is I think an interesting site for it. Pulse is going to be again 6 picked off to the castle from PSK1. May or may not fall for that, but same attack lineup regardless.
Clash left unbanned for the first time today. She was banned in T1 versus BD and Pain versus Nip. So interesting to see her played here. We've seen a lot of Clash play on Coastline, and it hit or miss, really. I think it comes down to how a team chooses to use her.
Yeah.
A lot of the ways we've been seeing her use, or one of the ways we've been seeing her use, rather, is aggressively try and slow down, you know, around the site on the push in, and usually what happens there is the attackers will pinch the Clash in that situation and kill her as quickly as possible.
Well, there are some balance changes being tested off and on the test server that do kind of reduce the strength a bit, so might as well exploit it while you can.
Pray tell.
Well, there are some situations where they are trying to reduce the effect of the stun in terms of how long it takes to recover from it, as well as how long it takes to recharge fully from it.
Interesting.
As well as, I believe there was one more change, I'm trying to recall what it was now, but either way, they are definitely making it slightly less effective, so if you know that's coming, might as well play it while you can if you feel it's strong for you.
Astro, unfortunately missing his drone, though it was based on something that is, I guess, a little bit odd to account for. That castle barricade rim, it's a little bit of an extension that normal barricades don't have. So, fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's just a little bit of wasted time. Though,
speaking of wasted time,
yeah, Clash over here trying to deny the push under the north balcony. Good operator to do so, and he will be calling for his teammate right behind him, that's Bullet, looking for the fights.
A lot of pressure on these windows, a lot of repels happening. I'm just waiting for the run out to happen here at some point, but they're all upstairs.
Noticeable lack of ADSs there just inside the B window. That's very dangerous to allow yourself to lose that much utility early on.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a tough spot. And Jackal tracking down, I believe that's the castle there.
Yeah.
PSK1 just hanging out. He's been marked as well by pings from Astro. They're just waiting for the right time to stun him, as he does have 2 stuns left, but Zig with the first kill there onto Astro.
PSK gonna eat a lot of damage from the Ash charges, and he will stand up and die.
No.
Moringa also gets Bullet. That is a confusing play from PSK. We didn't see what happened with Bullet, but it's still a kill inside of VIP. And that's gonna put Liquid in a bad spot. Zig gets his 2nd kill onto Yuna. And Sexy Cake will assist in the downing of Moringa and finally finish him off. Sexy with a 3rd, or rather Zig with a 3rd, as Camera starts his vault in through the B window. He will be spotted and called out. A nice peek, but not nice enough, as Zig gets a 4K. And Liquid win the round off the backs of this dog.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the utility, but he's certainly winning the gunfights there and being able to play off of that deployable shield, and that is one thing we were talking about earlier with the Maestro, is when you combine an ACOG with a deployable shield, it becomes very effective for the defenders, and that was a good demonstration of that. Unfortunately, putting a lot of eggs in the rappelling on the balcony and the window basket, absolutely not working out there.
Yeah.
For FaZe.
The entire strategy there for Liquid was just to get aggressive on north balcony and the main site window, and it worked.
Especially when you can have a Clash peek.
Yeah, the Clash does a lot of work over by that north balcony. I'm confused a little bit by how PSK chose to play that as the castle, eating 2 Ash charges and standing up. The reason it's so confusing, normally I'd say, yeah, sure, you know, try and get out of your situation, whatever. The reason it's so confusing is because there's a dock on your team. You can just get snipped up
right.
and chill there, man. Just be patient. You don't need to rush yourself. I guess he probably thought he was being ashed from below. If there's an ash below you, your position is compromised. You have
Fair
to move.
point.
But
I mean, they absolutely knew he was there. I think that was very
well,
clear.
yeah,
He was being jackal tracked. He probably thought, yeah, if you're being jackal tracked, you're going to think that Ash Charge is coming from below. That does make a lot of sense.
Fair thought process, though incorrect in this instance.
Well, either way, it's tied up,
Yep.
as it should be from the way things have gone down so far.
And we are going to be seeing a hookah billiards defense once more from Liquid. Last time they went here, it was thanks to a nice push from Astro, as well as the rest of FaZe pushing in through Aqua, that allowed for the take to be successful for FaZe Clan.
Yeah, I mean, mostly the same operators coming out from both sides for the most part on this defense. So we'll see if things shake down the same way again. This is going to be playing on the Legion. I don't think he was on that last time. I believe he might have been Bandit. So we'll see if the Legion works out a little bit better for him. Might be able to use that to kind of slow them down and give himself some more positioning power in his gunfights as well. They do have, again, the Castle being 6th pick to, again, from PSK. Surprising no one. He did tease the Echo, I believe it was, though, and I think that probably would have been a little more effective in the Castle, but I understand the strategy of trying to deny a lot of angles to give them more movement within the site. But interesting because you usually see it on this door.
The Castle has thus far proven useful in wasting soft destruction for the attack. And I think FaZe is bringing an abundance of soft destruction because of that. They're bringing the Ash and the Zofia because they know, hey, castle barricades, they're a thing, and they will be used by our opponents.
At the moment, Glaz can still shoot through them as well, which is something they were testing, I believe, removing on the test server as well.
We'll see if that change moves forward in the future, though it's still pretty far out.
Yeah.
Now, Astro's going to set up a drone on his flank, and he will likely start his push into Aquarium once he's got support from his teammates on the balcony. Though he could push earlier, he doesn't necessarily need to wait. It's better to wait for that crossfire to be established. White peak, but he's not reading the situation properly, and Nesk will take down a very easy kill onto Astro.
Way too much concern about the camera.
Certainly. A confusing peak for Astro, and that's just a man lost early on, and a lot of utility no longer available because the lifeline's not in play.
We were talking about the Ash charges from below, and you saw there was a Jackal ping and then a floor open there. It could have been a situation where they tried to catch that Jaeger, doing exactly what we were talking about for the castle before. But either way, at least they've got him locked down, and that's Bullet, who is a very strong fragger, so of course they are going to drone and find out what they already knew, that Nesk is hiding in that corner with, again, a deployable shield, which didn't work out too well for him the previous time, but seems to be working for him okay right now, as they've wasted a lot of the ability to take out that shield.
Smoke grenades going down, and Yuna can now free peek into Nest, but he's likely to eat a Legion Trap, and there it is. He really just needs to commit, though. There's not enough time to dance around this shield. Mav is eating damage from Legion Traps and Impact Grenades. This is not a great scenario. Zig will take out one before Yuna, an excellent one-tap between the corner of the shield and the wall. But still, FaZe are in a bad spot with Mav on such low HP. Camera going to make it a little bit easier for FaZe as he takes out Sexy Cake on the flank. Yuna going for the full commit of the push thanks to the smoke. He will see one, doesn't see the other for some reason, and will try to flick but fail ultimately. And Zig landing his shots will get another before PSK finally finishes off Mav. A truly confusing round and attack from FaZe results in Liquid getting themselves 2 rounds in a row.
I know it's easy to say this from the seat, but there was a lot of opportunities where we saw them see the defender and just not read into it. You saw it first when Nesk was able to get the free kill, and then when the glass pushed around the corner, I mean, I know he was hyper focused on trying to angle around that corner, and absolutely did so. But not noticing the big yellow streak underneath the couch as he walked around the corner definitely cost him his life. It could have been an easy free kill for him at that point.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, when you miss an opponent, you can look back on it and say, "Oh yeah, sure, I understand that." But you're playing glass. He's yellow. You're playing glass. You saw him under the couch.
It is one situation where it is literally highlighted for you.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that Glass is such a good operator. It's hard to miss your opponent, but I guess the the many bright colors that are in that corner were probably what obscured the yellowness of the scope.
At least he got 2 kills leading up to that.
Yeah, he did do work. You gotta hand it to Yuna, but it wasn't enough.
No, unfortunately. We do have some shakeups though on defense, though. Sexcake teasing the clash again, but switching to the mute, and then Nesk again switching up to the alibi, and Zig doing what I was suggesting he did the first few rounds of being the Echo, but honestly at this point, starting to feel for his dock play.
Yeah, the dock play from Zig has been excellent. You can see he's top fragging right now in the match. 7 kills, one of the main driving forces for Liquid. And I'm on the same boat as you, man. I was like, oh, why not have an Echo? Now he's been performing so well with Doc. Yeah. It's like, oh no, he doesn't have a Doc. I get why they would rotate on Echo for this site, though, if any, because you need to deny that plant by the default spot.
To be fair, though, either way you get an MP5 with the ACOG.
Yeah.
And in this case, you get more utility.
Just a different variation.
Although it looks like he goes with the Supernova and the Bearing 9 instead. So
I guess not a different variation. They're just all right.
Hey,
keeping us on our toes.
That's what I was thinking as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Sexy Cake able to deny drones with both the mute jammers and his bullets is going to be pretty much trying to make this roam work. He does not have a C4 though. He has a bulletproof camera, which has already been placed up. So hopefully that will work out in combination with the Yokai drones to be able to make sure that they have some idea where the attack's coming from. Astro, the one to potentially push this, but he could have backup from Bullet inside Kitchen.
You can see there's some little skirmishes here and there between the attack and the defense, but nothing actually fully committed by either teams just yet. Astro is aware of his opponents inside of Kitchen, but he's unsure how he wants to address this. The pre-fire comes through, and he narrowly misses some shots there. That could have been the right angle, but he didn't commit himself to it. Mav gonna lay down some bolts already. Right. Looks like it's gonna be a rush into the A-bomb site. The fuse plant's going down from Moringa right now. PSK not aware of this. There's no C4, no gas canister sailing out. They seem to be ignoring this willfully. The Yokai drones don't even do any work. PSK will take down Moringa, and Sexy gets a camera, but the damage is done. The diffuser is planted, and now the cover is in. Will it be enough is the question. There is a good amount of utility here for the defense to retake this. Mav gets a double kill as the defenders attempt to force themselves on the attack outside. Astro will take out PSK as well. Yuna charged with holding the diffuser fast. He's doing just that. He will down one and finish off Zig. It's all up to Bullet, who takes down Astro. He peeks wide and tries to take out Mav, but cannot land the shots. It's looking worse and worse, and Mav will get the final kill. FaZe take the round off of a simple push into the blue bar.
What a great opportunity read by FaZe. They saw the opportunity was there. There wasn't the angle to be played from the bar into the blue bar, and just a minute 15 into the round planting. And it wasn't even the kind of approach where you'd say, oh, this was a rush plant. It was just like, well, they're just going to let us in here, so hey, let's come on in.
Hey guys, they're not defending bar.
Yeah.
Let's plant the diffuser.
Yeah. I mean, it's typical for the teams to be able to play outside blue bar, but often they have a rotate in a position where they're going to see that, and they were focused a little bit more on having the intel to make the call on that they just did not have. So we'll see how Penthouse goes down this time, and now they won it last time as well as Hookah. So far, bar is the only thing they have lost. There again with the 6th pick onto the castle. This time, Sexy Cake not going to tease it. He's going to go with it again. As you mentioned before, it worked out fairly well last time in terms of the way they were playing against both the window and the balcony, but I would imagine FaZe would learn from that and maybe not push the same way this time.
I would imagine the same, or at least bring a solution to the problem. It did all go wrong for FaZe last time. You know, as much as Liquid played it well, their setup was good. FaZe just had a slew of mistakes on their end, and also got just unlucky as well. Liquid played it really well, just pushing their way into their opponents, knowing that they can push the issue, hold that north balcony, hold that window, on the east, and they did.
Yeah. Well, on the upside, they did bring something to counter the Clash this time on the Capitao, which is the one strong counter at the moment, although it still depends on a little bit of skill to be able to pull that off as well as timing. And Sexy Kick, I got to imagine, somewhat adept at least being able to move around comfortably. So it's going to definitely come down to, I think, some coordination from FaZe if they want to take him down. But he's actually going to peek a little bit early. A little bit of risky play, but hey, if he takes some damage, Zig is there to heal him up if need be.
Yeah, the Doc being actually very useful for Team Liquid so far. Of course, Zig as an individual being very useful, but his operator of Doc has been also a great influence on the outcome of these rounds. Interesting Evil Eye from Nesk, actually a very powerful position there. Lots of information to be gathered through a simple drone hole.
Yeah, it's such a simplistic way to just deny VIP. Just stand in front of the window with a shield.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, to be fair, they're not really trying to push around from the other side from the hallway, but at the same time, there may be a bit of a defense there to try and deny that, because of course you have to push through a hallway into a doorway. There's no really working around it. There's no wall you can open to just sneak on in from the other side. So it is tricky, I suppose.
So I know you want to use those Capitao Firebolts to take out the Clash, but we also, I believe, still have PSK playing in that little half-wall position. So there's a potential for a Firebolt there, but it's not going to be necessary. As Astro takes him down, Zig will refrag onto Astro. This is what Zig has been doing every single time somebody repels on that east window. He peeks them and kills them.
I like that strategy. There's something we don't ever really see. Is just opening that wall, putting a deployable shield there, and playing kind of both in between Penthouse and Theater.
And still, Liquid deny VIP and East window. It looks like a very tricky push ahead of FaZe. It hasn't all fallen apart just yet, but it's definitely looking difficult as Jaeger starts to lay some fire through the bathroom wall. Mav not going to eat any of those bullets. Nesk will take out Cameraman, though. Sexy Cake going to lose a lot of visual here. The Capitao bolts are providing excellent cover, but not enough, it seems, to get a defuse plant down in earnest. Yuna is very lit up, and this is not an easy situation for him to play. As the glass, he will die to Zig, who peeks wildly into bathroom. Moringa now the only cover that Mav has, but he was forced to vault out the window, lest he be killed by Sexy Cake, who is simply getting aggressive onto the couch position. Moringa rotating. Now back up to the roof, and Mav is going to have to come all the way up from blue stairs.
On the upside, he has the diffuser, didn't leave it in the room or anything like that, but this is the long way around to really most likely not accomplish anything, and Sexy Kick makes sure of that, doing some damage as well. Now this is the counter here. He has 2 bolts to work with, does a little, nope, not even a little bit of damage. That is 1 wasted. He has 1 more shot, literally, to try and take that down, but instead rotates.
Yeah, and you can see FaZe know what they're up against, and they're really struggling against Clash. Clash did a number. First of all, the round is over. Second of all, it's because of Clash, and here's why. FaZe seemed keen on going for a VIP take once more. Not necessarily a dedicated VIP take in the sense that they're going to open the wall, because they didn't have the means to do so there, as you can clearly see.
Yeah.
But in that they wanted to use Trophy Hall and Bathroom to allow for a diffuse plan.
Yeah.
You could see all the telltale signs, and those are they drawn out underneath. They're very cautious about repelling on the east window. They're circling the, around the drop down on the roof. They're ready to pounce. They've got the glass. They've got the Capitao. The kit is perfect for that particular attack. The problem was, first of all, Zig, who's just peeking and killing like a madman, but that's him being him. But second of all, Clash. The Clash being in the face of his opponents and just not allowing for anything to happen. Every single time the attack wanted to make a push, Clash was there.
Yeah.
And there was nothing the attack had for it.
I would like to see them have some kind of, Heartbreacher. They could have opened up Theater just to put some pressure on Zig. So you had to watch. I mean, yeah, he has a deployable shield, so he can face the other way into, to the Theater wall. But at the same time, that forces him to look away from where he's doing his most effective work. Maybe it wouldn't have been a big difference, but it certainly would have made it a lot harder for them to hold the angles they were holding.
You know what it is, though? It's that Zig was allowed to peek east window and bathroom door because there was no pressure from Guitar Hall. Why was there no pressure from Guitar Hall?
Clash.
So it was just a good amount of teamwork between the two players to deny angles for each other and gather information for each other, allowing for just a complete lockout. And a very simple one at that. Though that is all said and done.
Yeah, we switched sides.
We moved to the second half, and Liquid are the ones who were victorious in the first.
So some big differences here. We are seeing a Thermite, for example. We are seeing going to be Kitchen, which, much like before, was not played until the second half. So something similar to the first time we saw Coastline today. We are also seeing a Doc and an Echo, so they're doubling down on those ACOGs. I imagine probably actually bringing the ACOG as well instead of the shotgun, but you never know. But hey, you can have 2 shotguns. They have a smoke, so you don't really need the Supernova, depending on your strat, because the Bearing 9 is a little trickier now. So we will see if that factors in, but they are going to be bringing the Capitao and the Zofia on the attack. Something we saw from the previous attack, so a little bit of shake-up, but not a ton to where it's going to be a totally different game. They are going to be trying to push in to Hookah, it looks like a little bit, to get some control, and eventually towards the penthouse side to be able to open up the floor, in theory, with that sledge to start putting some downward pressure on the Kitchen.
Yeah, they definitely do have the right tools for this. The Buck Band's so confusing. But it seems to have worked out well. And now that Liquid is going over to their attack, they don't seem to have a need for it.
I can see the Buck ban against FaZe. Ooh, there we go. Nice kill by Cameraman. In that, it left Zig able to play his position, and he couldn't pressure him from below. And same with even maybe the Clash, for example.
I would say that, but I mean, they were bringing Ashe and Zofia. The utility loss is not massive there.
It's
if you have
true.
specific locations that you want open, based on information that you're gathering, like, hey, they're playing behind half wall, hey, Zig is playing this spot, then just open the main lobby door and Ashe him from below.
Well, we'll tell him in Rio.
Yeah, I mean, if, yeah, we will, I guess, yeah.
Either way, though, it is only 3-2 advantage here for Liquid, but we were talking earlier about how this favored FaZe. So far, it's favoring Liquid slightly, but then again, some of the operator bans do somewhat favor the attacker side of here, so it's not a huge surprise.
Yeah. Liquid seemingly keen to push their way into Kitchen. Doesn't seem like there's much in the way of defense right now to hold this. The Kitchen wall is open, so it looks like what we're seeing right now is a FaZe hold from off-site. Now, this is an older strategy that you don't see very much, but it is certainly viable. They haven't opened all of the Kitchen wall, just some of it, but still enough to play it from off-site. See the gas canisters delaying this push quite a bit to start things off. Since the Capitao is gone, it's already quite a lot of tools lost for the attack. And a nice angle here from Mav. Cameraman as well, able to take down Zig. Nesk will get the first kill for his team, but it doesn't seem to matter as the rest of Liquid simply falls apart. And FaZe take the first round of the second half.
Excellently done. That ties it up. I realized earlier I said attacker side, not realizing it was already switched around. But yeah, it definitely has been working out for the defense quite a bit. We had 2 penthouse defenses successful, a hookah defense successful, one that failed, and then now Kitchen successful as well. So every bomb site seeming to find some success outside of bar, which they're going to now. So this is where FaZe need to change things up a little bit so they can finally get a point lead here. See if they can manage to make that work, because so far they've just been behind every time, trailing up. Interesting that Mav is going to go with Rook instead of Doc, even though he was just on Doc.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Weird choices, but you know, there's absolutely logic behind them. It's not just random.
Echo's also, sorry, yeah, Echo's also still in play.
Oh.
Clash will be 6-picked off, or 6-picked into, out of a alibi. We're also going to see IQ instead of Sledge. So that's good that the Echo isn't here, because IQ is the hardest counter to an yokai drone from Echo. The Clash is likely going to be a huge influence on this round if Astro is able to play her correctly. The reason we saw Clash be useful for Liquid when they were on defense was Penthouse specifically. The way that they were trying to hold Penthouse, denying the north balcony, and then the east window was a great strategy, and it allowed for Zig to be aggressive. I don't know what the plan is for Astro. I think the tricky part with Clash is that if you just bring a Clash and it's aimless, then it's a bad operator pick.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a case where there is some opportunity to be flexible with it in terms of you are on an operator that can potentially move around somewhat.
But there needs to be a plan in place.
Certainly. I mean, you move slow as well, so.
Yeah, we've seen teams bring Clash just to bring Clash, and seen it fall flat on its face. So,
well, it makes sense earlier in the season, but
it does. But here we go. We'll see what Astro chooses to do with the operator. We'll see if they have an interesting strategy like what we saw from Liquid on their defensive half.
At least PSK bringing the Capital should make things a little bit harder for Astro, but we did see that not necessarily be a factor against Sexy Cake, who just kind of did what he wanted. And again, they're peeking windows with the Clash, which seems to be a very useful... the range on that thing is just... I mean, you could probably hit Oregon with that from there. It's just nuts.
A very silly gadget indeed. And a lot of damage can be inflicted with it, and a lot of information gathered as well. Just peeking out of that window tells you that you're being attacked right now from the south office. That's all you needed to do, and that's almost nothing.
Yeah, a little bit of stalling out, but at least Nesk manages to get in here and take control of Aqua.
Oh, the timing! No! Nesk! What just happened? Cameraman peeks as Nesk comes off the angle. Camera gets a kill and then falls back. Nesk does nothing. And Mav also able to get a kill. Now Liquid find themselves in a 2 versus 5 as Moringa takes down Bullet. What just transpired?
Lack of confidence.
Possibly Mav will take out Nesk as he attempts to push into the building, and it's all up to PSK, who just narrowly avoids death. He will take Cameraman with him, but a swift death right after.
Well, after the side switch, 2 successful defenses in a row for FaZe, so while they struggled a little bit on the attack, defense seeming to be a much better situation, and now they finally take that point lead.
We got to talk about what we just saw there from Nesk.
Yeah.
You know, maybe is I don't know what it is, but he locked up as soon as he saw his opponent. That wasn't just. I want to say honestly that wasn't just him coming off the angle in the wrong moment. I want to say that was him holding the angle, seeing his opponent coming off of the angle, freezing.
Yeah.
And then his teammate dies next to him, and then he's like, "Oh wait, I gotta hold this."
It's that moment where you pull off, you realize what you just did, and then that throws off everything you're doing because you're suddenly thinking about that instead.
It might be that whatever it was, it does not bode well for him as an individual or for Liquid as a whole.
I feel like, I mean, Nesk is someone known for very high reaction times, and we're seeing somewhat slow ones from even the time he was behind the deployable shield and got the free kill. It was still a little bit of a slow kill with all the time he had to look straight at him.
Yeah.
And it just, again, it makes me wonder if there's some lack of confidence issue going on there. I mean, maybe it's also lack of sleep. He is a new father.
True, true. Well, possibilities abound, and we can't let it distract us from the fact that that wasn't just a simple mistake from Nest that cost Liquid the round.
No.
Everywhere Liquid members were being slaughtered by FaZe. It just seemed like a one-sided affair through and through. So, definitely a team effort for FaZe, and wow, just a complete fall apart for Liquid. Now, we'll be going to Billiards Hookah as our next site.
Well, so now they're bringing the Doc and the Rook this time. The side of the Rook was good, but letting Moringa take it instead.
3 ACOGs on defense.
Yeah, why didn't they just bring Echo too while they were at it and just peek everything?
Go full 4 ACOGs. You know, that's actually a rarity. You really don't see that very often because almost always either Maestro or Echo is banned.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very good point, and that's makes it very difficult to do. Doc and Rook not really getting banned so much, though.
They also don't get played very much.
Very true, but Ying, for the first time in this matchup here, I believe, getting played by Nesk for an approach that we've seen many a times into Billiards. Coming in through, there's some barbed wire that he's going to have to deal with first. Might get some help from Bullet on that. But there's, again, as we've seen before, many defenders here playing it. You're going to have one in the corner and one behind the bar, like we saw earlier, that worked fairly effectively for the teams doing it.
Oof.
But he is picking overly aggressively, and Moringa could cost the defense of this Aqua if he gets felled by peeking the window too often. Yeah,
it is definitely folly to peek Sexy Cake, and he did already eat one bullet from that DMR, as you can see. That's luckily he will think better of it and choose to play this round safe, rightfully so. As it doesn't seem like he's being pressured much from the south, so if he just waits, he might be able to win this round out. Now, as I say that, 2 attackers position themselves on the south balcony, Capital being one of them, and Sexy Cake will finish off Moringa as he attempts to rotate from the minibar. The peek from Yuna will, though, take out Nesk, who is trying to hold a passive angle. Good refrag there from the Maestro, and Cameraman going to give Maestro a rotation hole so he can fall back into sight when necessary. Doc still in play means Yuna will be healed up and continue to hold on to that aquarium without a disadvantage of having low HP. The support from Mav, a long angle from the hookah is going to be extremely useful. The Yuna will fall back and still get a kill, just leaning left and right onto Sexy Cake. Aster also takes out Zig, and PSK peeking now. Oh man, the target is gone, the damage is done, and Yuna will still be fragged out. Doc proving his worth in this round, allowing Yuna to do this much damage, leaving Bullet the last attacker. And he will still be attempting to take Aquarium. It's not going to happen. Cameraman's going to shut him down.
Looking to join his friends there at that point. I like what Sexy Cake was trying to do with the crossfire and the way that worked against the bar. And that's a great idea with the DMR right there. The downside is that does nothing for the person in the corner, the Maestro that they had to deal with. And that...
Yeah, so props to Liquid for having one part of that attack well thought out. But where's the rest of it, though?
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. So let's say you take that guy at the bar out. They could potentially, if someone with the utility to either take out the deployable shield or a Capitao to do Firebolt, try and fast peek that, but that's so risky, especially if they didn't take out the barbed wire yet.
I mean, to be fair, if there's no Legion traps on that doorway, right? I mean, you could one Firebolt behind the blue bar, or behind the mini bar inside of Aquarium.
To push the Sexy Cake.
Yeah, and then the next Firebolt behind the shield. And then that opens up the possibilities
and
eventually. And then if you have, you got Sexy Cake on Ruins, you've got one guy in Luggage Hallway, you've got both of those rotations that are going to happen from those two people in those corners cut off. They're dead as soon as they rotate away from the Firebolts. But that's not what happened.
Yeah, and I mean, you could say that's a lot of resources committed to taking Aqua, but that's where everyone pretty much ends up anyways.
Yeah,
so.
Everyone and their mother's team pushes Aquarium these days when
it's a family reunion to see the fish.
It's just the meta, man. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Well, what they're gonna do if you're Liquid is try and get some points here because you've already lost your chance at winning. You've got to tie at best, which is FaZe slowly at this point trying to lock Liquid out of that LAN event.
Yeah, we got to say, or at least I've got to say, the defensive half for FaZe, oh boy.
Yeah.
So dominant. Not only have they won all of their defenses so far, but just one-sided affairs, to say the least. As soon as FaZe was allowed to set the tempo when they were moved to defense, I know that sounds kind of contradictory. That should be the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Attackers are the ones who get to set it. No. For whatever reason, in this match, the defenders have been setting the tempo, and as soon as FaZe was allowed to do that, they have been absolutely shredding their opponents.
Yeah, and I mean, for both teams, it wasn't necessarily a case of Clash always being exploited. It was always on specific sites, and it always seemed to work. But then it's just, we're seeing a lot of
timing.
Rook.
No, the timing from Ness coming off the angle at the wrong moment. Cameraman takes down Sexy, and Astro will finish off Ness. A crossfire in the main lobby doing damage beyond proportion. Now, Moringa and Yuna able to get their own kills, and Yuna's going to get another one. It's done. That's it. GG. FaZe win 6-3. I don't know what just happened.
We could barely finish thinking about the previous round before FaZe win that one. Well, that was the confidence steamrolled right on into that one.
We saw again Ness come off of the angle at the worst possible moment, allowing for a complete collapse in the main lobby. Because of that, his teammates and himself were just enveloped. Main lobby, eliminated.